Hi, it's Lisa Selthofer from Spot on Agility Live here, and I would like to bring you up to speed on a that I've been working on and to share some results and get some feedback. So, for years, I've often wondered what support systems are out there universally to support beginner agility folks as they're moving from the trial or from the training environment to the trial environment. Been a kind of a pet project of mine. So first, this got me thinking about what my trial experience was, my first agility trial. And in my opinion, looking back, it was just an utter train wreck. So what happened to me was that I showed up at a trial and, I was there with my instructor and it was great. I mean, I was what I thought was a model student. I was at class every single week. And now, granted, this is about 25 years ago. So I show up at this trial, and the first thing we notice is that my dog had never been on a full-size table. And at that time, it would have been a 24-inch table. She'd only been on probably about a 12-inch table. So we found this picnic table off to the side, and I practiced having her jump up on it and, something tall. And I thought I was ready. So, okay, go into the ring, I put my dog in a sit stay, and it was jump, dog, walk. I was leading out past the first jump, and all of a sudden I heard someone say dog up, and then my dog ran right by me past the dog walk, up the dog walk and over. And I was confused. Was I supposed to then put her back on the start line because that's what I would have done in training, or did I keep going? So I kept going, and next, suddenly she's on the A-frame, and let's just say that she was nowhere near that down contact. So then again, the question becomes, do I put her back on the contact? What do I do? Then I get to the dreaded table, and my dog kept going under the table and under the table and under the table and under the table. And every time she'd go under the table, the judge who was right next to me kept putting her hand up. And I knew that was bad. I knew that was really, really bad. I didn't know what the call was. I just knew it was really bad. And she didn't go under the table once or twice. It was at least 15 times. It was probably the longest 10 seconds of my life. And I had no idea what to do. Finally, the judge said, "Would you like to go on?" And I said, yes. I was so happy. And the minute I said yes, my dog then jumps up onto the table. And again, I didn't know what to do. So that was my first experience, is that literally I went from the training environment straight into trialing, and I was utterly clueless. So let's fast forward to today, and I'm now an agility judge. And what I often see when I'm judging the novice or the beginners is that there are some basics that they don't have as well. They don't know what to do with their leash, maybe. They don't know when they should go into the ring. One of the biggest things I see people doing is the novice handler staring at me as the judge to get them to give them permission to go ahead and start the course, when in reality they should be looking at the timer to do that. So there's lots of things going on. And it sort of surprises me because we're 25 years later, but I'm also not surprised because I have my opinions, but I mean, hey, when we're in training, there's a lot that's going on, and we're really focused on the obstacles, and we're focused on doing those correctly. And of course, the trial environment is meant to test those skills. But it not only tests those skills, there's a whole bunch of information that it's becoming obvious that a lot of beginner folks don't have immediate access to or knowledge to. So here's the next part. This got me thinking, so what is the issue here? And so I put a poll on Facebook, and basically I wanted to find out, is there enough interest from the beginners to actually invest some time in learning about what they need to do to better prepare for the trial? And the poll results were really interesting. So first of all, I had 209 people that participated in the poll. So I want to thank everybody so much for doing that. So 209 people, that's a pretty good amount. So when I set up this poll, I did very specifically say that I was looking for the opinion of beginner agility folks. And I have a lot of feedback from experienced handlers saying, hey, this is a great idea. So when I broke down the numbers to participants, there were only 28 no's. So 28 people said, nope, this isn't a resource that I would be interested in. What I thought was interesting was when I broke down the no's and I took a look at the people that were in there, 95% of those were experienced people. And when I say experienced people, we're talking about people that had mocks, people that were agility judges, people that had been in it for over a decade. And I thought that was interesting. But the other part is I did reach out to a couple of the other folks, the beginner folks, to find out why they wouldn't be interested in a resource. And it was as simple as they just don't do online items, that they just don't like the technology. They'd rather have in-person training. So that was great feedback. Moving on over to the yes side, there were 181 yeses, that yes, that a beginner resources to help them go from the training environment to the trial environment were definitely something that they were interested in. What I did find interesting is over 60% of those people were, again, experienced agility competitors. So it's clear that, 60% of those folks, again, being experienced, really do think that a resource needs to be created for the beginner folks. But the question is it something that beginner people are interested in? So I put something out on my blog, kind of focusing toward the beginner folks, and I asked them, I'm like, hey, I'd really like your feedback. What were the challenges you had while you were, in your first trial? Or as you're preparing to trial, what are some of the concerns that you have? And I've gotten about 45 different replies, and I've been talking back and forth to each of those. So I will definitely do another video on those because the responses are fantastic. So here's the thing. As an experienced agility person, I definitely think a resource needs to be made. And this is something I've always wanted to do. As a matter of fact, I started this project in 2012 and it's now 2019 and I kind of keep holding off on that. Hey, Stephanie. So I literally, it's a passion of mine. It's a love of mine. But this has to be something that beginners are going to want. So here's the challenge that I would like to put out to all of you that are experienced handlers. In order to make a product or something that's going to be useful for these beginner people, I need their input. I need to know that, yes, this is what that this resource is going to address what their concerns are, that this resource is going to be something that they're going to see as valuable. Because as I've been in this for 25 years, I have a very different viewpoint than what they do. And so do you as experienced handlers. You have decades of experience and say, hey, my next dog, I know I'm going to do this. But I really want to focus on the folks that are going from the training to the trialing, and they don't know what they need. Sometimes they don't know what questions to ask. Sometimes their fear is as great as, I don't want to look like an idiot out there. And by the way, that is pretty much a quote that I've gotten from several folks. That's one of their big concerns. And of course, being experienced people, we know how to drill down onto that to hopefully address some of those issues, but these beginner folks don't. So the challenge that I'd like and the assistance that I'm asking for is, please, I would be happy if you could put me in touch with some of your beginner agility folks so that I can get some feedback from them. Specifically, I want to know what their concerns are. Do they feel prepared? What were their first trials like, the first couple of times? What did they do to prepare? And this resource in no way, shape, or form will replace anything that's going on in person with a trainer. It's to kind of help that bridge between, like I said, the training to the trialing. Because really, it seems like that's the part that people need some assistance on. So anyway, again, I wanted to go ahead and share those post results, and I also do have a freebie for everyone, especially for the beginner folks. So if you go to spotonagility.com, first agility trial, I actually have a handout called How Not to Look Like a Newbie in Agility. So we've got to start off teaching these beginner folks somewhere and to try to help them on their first trial. I know quite often people really try to seek out those folks at trials, but a lot of times you're running your dogs as well. So if we can prepare them in advance, that's terrific. So again, please do send them my way so that I can ask those questions. My email is lisa@spotonagility.com. And again, let me go ahead and give you that freebie, which is How Not to Look Like a Newbie in Agility. It's spotonagility.com/first agility trial, and I'll go ahead and put that in the comments as well. So thanks so much, everyone, and I hope you have a great day, and as always, happy handling.